Injustice had a very good first game. It had a well-rounded roster of heroes and villains, and the story itself was very thought-provoking, making you think that, to a degree, Superman could have turned this whole worldwide takeover into a good thing if he didn't get drunk on power and enlist supervillains to work for him. Injustice 2 was good, but its story wasn't nearly as creative, and the endings, plural, just made me wonder what else is in store. I never saw the appeal of the multiple endings in fighting games outside of arcade mode. Like, what are you supposed to expect from a potential third entry if this is the case? Injustice 2 had either the asshole Superman ending or the necessary banishment by Batman ending. But like, is that going to lead into another multiverse story? I mean, DC is no stranger to that. I think the premise works well in that franchise as opposed to Mortal Kombat. So I guess this will be part of some Crisis on Infinite Earths type story, where the Anti-Monitor would be the main baddie, and you get appearances from DC characters that are less mainstream, less exposed. I mean, Blue Beetle and Firestorm were good candidates for Injustice 2. I'm glad they were included, but I wouldn't be too bummed if they didn't come back for the third one. I think we need to think a little more outside the box for the next game. Plastic Man would be sick. He has some great powers, and he would provide some good comedy relief throughout the story. He doesn't get enough love outside of Batman the Brave and the Bold, I feel. Animal Man is another weird one. Now, Vixen was in 2, but her moveset was restricted to cat-like attacks since she was just a reskin of Cheetah. But Buddy, he could do more with other animals like rhinos, falcons, bulls. I think he'd make for a fun addition. Metamorpho from The Outsiders could do some pretty neat moves involving fire, ice, plasma, gas. He'd be another great character that the developers could be creative with. I would love to see Jonah Hex involved, but I'm worried he'd be too similar to Aaron Black. Maybe instead of guns, they give him lassos, a horse sidekick. Maybe he could break bottles over his opponent's head. An old-time bandit, something to make him stand out. Etrigan would be cool. Like, you can't have a Netherrealm fighter without a Hellspawn character of some sorts, let's be real. Lex Luthor could come back, but maybe the version of him that was in Infinite Crisis. He was kind of the villain of that whole series. He tried remaking the multiverse. Maybe it'd be cool to have him involved to some degree. John Constantine can be the resident magic wielder this time around, I think. Music mice. While on the subject of more out there DC characters, Watchmen is a great world to pull characters from. The Comedian, Rorschach, and Dr. Manhattan would be top 3, of course. We need less Batman villains. Injustice 2 had Ivy, Joker, Bane, Harley, Scarecrow, Catwoman, Deadshot, Mr. Freeze. But you can keep Harley since she's essential to the narrative. Maybe Catwoman, but Joker, Bane, Scarecrow, they can sit this one out. We need more Justice League-centric villains. Steppenwolf might work. He's one of the JL's more notorious enemies. Same with Vandal Savage, Amazo, Eclipso, the Fatal Five. I think Batman and Superman should get alternate skins that are different versions of their characters. Kind of like Flash, how he had alternates for Thawne and Jay Garrick, and they had completely different voice lines. I think we should have more of those. The ones that come to mind for me are Owlman and Ultraman. Those would be pretty nifty. Guest characters are a given in these games, so I think my top picks would be Mark Grayson, Liu Kang, Shredder, Big Head, and the Green Hornet. I don't know how things are going for NetherRealm or WB. Suicide Squad bombed hard and had some atrocious storytelling, but Arkham Shadow, to everyone's surprise, turned out to be pretty good. And it shows there's still a market for superhero games, thank God. For what it's worth, I don't want Mortal Kombat 1 to fail or NetherRealm to fail. The story expansion with Noob had nothing going on aside from returning characters and more neat character additions, but the way they should go about it, it needs to be less stupid. It don't make these packs cost almost as much as the base game. So, from what we've seen so far from WB, is that it'll take a lot for them to pull themselves together, and I'm not actively rooting for them to fail. I read that Rocksteady had a bunch of layoffs, which doesn't bode well, and then Monolith was shut down, but so far NetherRealm hasn't met that same fate just yet. I think what we all just really want is for the higher-ups to be a little more, no, actually a lot more competent in their business practices, and not forget what made all these projects so appealing to begin with. And just, here's hoping that Injustice 3 happens. I would love to see it, and I would love to play it. So yeah, just fingers crossed.